And we are back for the second installment of How to Only Half Suck at World of Warships. Last time we played Tier 4 ships. This time we're going to play Tier 5 ships. Again, I have brought my friend Equivoke for moral support and to carry the game because I am distracted by talking too much. So someone has to make sure we win. Say hello, Equi.
Hello.
Yeah, so I've mentioned that before. You can find Equi's Twitch stream in the description of the video. And yeah, if you want to look for yourself, this is how the name is spelled. And you can find his stream on Twitch where he streams World of Warships sometimes. And sometimes he streams the clan battles of glorious clan No Fun, the best clan on the EU server, objectively speaking. So we're going to continue with what we did last time. One destroyer game, one cruiser game, one battleship game, this time at tier 5. And why do we do this? Tier 4 because, well, there's loads of bots. It's maybe protected matchmaking, not for us obviously, but for you maybe. But now it's tier 5, and tier 5 means no more protected matchmaking, and you're going to play against humans who may have tens of thousands of battles. Doesn't mean they're good players necessarily, even though some of them are. But yeah, you have to be aware that usually once you reach tier 5, the game experience starts changing drastically. Whereas you could just, if you play a destroyer, go straight ahead in tier 4 and drive up next to the enemy ship and blast them out of the water with your torpedoes. That's not going to work at tier 5 because you're going to play against humans and experienced human players at that. And if you're playing a destroyer, you're going to die if you're spotted. That is rule number 1. You die if you're spotted. So to prevent that from happening, we're going to play Minekaze, which is a Japanese torpedo-focused destroyer, and a very good one at that. I cannot say that it's the best destroyer at tier 5 because there are certain overpowered premiums, but it's in terms of tech tree destroyers, it is probably in the top 3, maybe top 2. It might just be the best torpedo-focused destroyer, and then there's probably the Nicholas as the best gun-focused destroyer, something like that. But last time we played a gun-focused destroyer. This time we're going to play a torpedo-focused destroyer. You can see my captain has 17 skill points. That is not strictly necessary, but once you reach tier 5, you really want a 10-point commander. And as a destroyer, you want to take these 3, 1 point, 2 point, 3 points, that's 6, and this one for 4 points, that's 10. These are your first 10 skill points, unless you're a super unicom and you know what you're doing and you want to do something else for a reason, in which case this video doesn't apply to you anyway. Ignore this. We've had it last time. You probably don't want this. I want it for laziness purposes. This one is a decent skill, but yeah, these 3 and that one, this is the single most important skill, because it reduces your ship's detectability range by 10%, and that means you are stealthy, you control the engagement, particularly as a Minekaze, which has a very low detection range. You don't want to be spotted and then shot at, right? You want to outspot the enemy and then run away. Drop your torps, run away. You don't really want to engage in a gunfight with the Minekaze because you're probably going to lose. So it is important that you are stealthy. That means you can control the engagement. You can decide which fights you take and which you don't take. And generally speaking, you don't take any. At least as a Minekaze. There are, of course, other destroyers that have other rules of engagement, you could say. For example, the aforementioned tier 5 Nicholas, the American destroyer. Yes, you do want to take the gunfights against other destroyers because you're probably going to dumpster them. Of course, you need to be careful if you are alone and the enemy destroyer has two cruisers 5 kilometers behind him, you probably don't want to take the gunfight, because even though you outgun the destroyers, those two cruisers mean you are going to die. They will shoot you, and yeah, that's not smart. That may be heroic, but it's stupid. So don't be stupid. As you can see here in Q, there's two aircraft carriers. We were lucky when playing Tier 4. We didn't have aircraft carriers in our games, and we're not gonna feature aircraft carriers in this wonderful series, because quite frankly, you shouldn't play them. Grind 1 or 2 destroyer, cruiser, and battleship lines, respectively, to Tier 10 to acquaint yourself with the general mechanics of the game. And once you've understood those, branch out into the weird classes, which are the aircraft carriers and the submarines. Now, in this match, we bring up the team panel, and we can see we are bottom tier. We are tier 5, and there's tier 7 ships in our game. This is no cause for despair or sadness. It is cause for great joy, because if as a tier 5 you damage a tier 7 ship, that's gonna give you additional XP, and you really want to do that. What worries me the most in this particular match is this guy, the Kamikaze R, which is essentially the same as us, but his torps do, I don't know, 50% more damage. Let's see, his torps do 14.4 apparently, and ours do 10.8. Yeah, it's not quite 50%, but it's more. Otherwise, the ships are very similar, but yeah, it's a dangerous ship. Also, I recognize this clan tag, Thiso, the salty ones. I'm conflicted now, because I want to shit talk them for being salty douchebags, because that's the only interaction I've ever had with any of them being salty douchebags. But maybe this guy is nice, we're gonna see. They are also good players for the most part, so that guy playing a tier 7 ship, that's dangerous, because he is highest tier and in a decent ship, and he's a good player, so that's dangerous. We are not going to rush into that cap. That can be a bit of a death trap. We might be able to take it, but we don't know, right? So we want to do some probing first. We have this wonderful thing here. That is the other 4-point skill that my ship has. It shows the direction of the closest enemy ship. And seeing that those two destroyers are over there, they're in division, so once you see one, you know where the other is. And considering the A cap is being taken, that is most likely 99% chance it's the Kamikaze R, means the B cap is free. And that means we are going to go into the B cap now. Our Z31 there, it's a tier 7 destroyer, but the way he's positioned, I wouldn't expect too much from him. He's probably going to eat kamikaze torps and die in short order. Oh, actually it's an Nagano in the cap. But I think the kamikaze is there as well. Okay, that's the Fiji there. Okay, what we're going to do here is we're taking the cap. We will go through the cap. Yes, the Kamikaze R is over there. Try and do a torp run on the Texas, and then try to squeeze those two DDs so they die. We cannot engage them in a gunfight and just gun them down, obviously, but we can outspot them because we are very stealthy. And then, well, our team can murder them, I guess. So, the Texas just ate shit. Iqui, was that you hitting the Texas?
Partly. Wasn't all me.
So, as you can see here, there's that Fiji. Fiji is dangerous for us because it has short fuse AP, a special type of AP shell that will absolutely wreck destroyers. Okay, the Fiji is also smoking up there.
I'm gonna try to snipe him.
We will drop our torps into the Fiji smoke. Always be aware, smokes are torpedo magnets. So if you play a ship with smoke, don't sit in your smoke in such a way that you show broadside to where you think torpedoes will be coming from, right? That's dangerous, and we'll see if we can prove that. Maybe, probably not. Left a gap there, and that's not good. Oh, we got one torpedo. That's nice. We're gonna do that.
He's almost dead then. Because I hit him in smoke.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Thank you. So even though the Fiji was not spotted there, why is that guy spotting us? Okay, good. Even though the Fiji was in smoke there, invisible does not mean invincible, obviously. So Equi could just shoot into his smoke in the position where the Fiji was, and the Fiji died. Okay, that guy died as well. So there is still that Fubuki out here, and that is a bit annoying, a bit dangerous. Our team should have taken the sea cap by now. They have decided not to do so. So at some point Equi is going to get into the cap, I guess, because, well, these three ships, they're sitting behind the island, being torped by the Fubuki and doing not much else. When you play a torpedo destroyer, you really want to use the minimap. So I select my torps, I aim my torps, I have the Heinrich there, and the Heinrich's course is going that way, my torpedo angle is that way, and you see the intersection between the two, the course of the Heinrich and my torpedo trajectory is outside of my maximum torpedo range, which is 7 kilometers. And now we're waiting, and even though the Heinrich is now still 8 kilometers away, we can launch our 7 kilometer torps because the intersection is inside our maximum torpedo range. Sadly, he is turning in completely. What we're going to do is we're going to shoot him a little, hoping that he turns back the other way, which he does not. He does the full turn. That's unfortunate. Now we will smoke up because the secondary battery, quite frankly, that's unsustainable. We cannot fight against that. We set him on fire. That's honestly the best we could hope for. And we're going to run away. We want to set up a torpedo run on this King George. He is, as we said before, one of the dangerous players here. And he's turning our way. Oh, I thought he was going to turn away. Of course, he does not. He turns back towards our friends there, which is risky for him. Okay, he got set on fire there. He repaired the fire. So this is not something I would advise, but we shoot him. He can more or less one-shot us, so that's dangerous. Yep. But we are greedy here, right? Yes, we got the permafire on him, that's all we needed. And now we're gonna run away. Someone should really shoot him. Thank you, Repulse. Yes, very good. As I said, that guy was a dangerous player, so it's good that he's dead now. So what we've done this game, we've secured the B cap, and then we hovered between B and C and around B for a while, and then we came down here to help our team squeeze out the enemy that was congregating behind the C cap. The goal, of course, being to kill them, and then having the C cap and the B cap on lockdown. Okay, we have a kamikaze here, which is not ideal. We don't want that. Because that Heinrich there, quite frankly, he's dangerous, so we're going to disengage. Due to the HP situation, we cannot take a fair fight with the kamikaze. He has the same guns that we have, but he's full HP, we are not, so we're just going to ignore him. And our mission is going to be to defend the B cap. Oh, he's coming for us. I did not expect that. As long as we can keep the enemy out of the B cap, that's all good, because then we have 2 caps and they have 1, and we win on points. We also have a ship advantage, of course, but as I mentioned earlier in the first video, you always want to ask yourself, what could the enemy do in the current situation to win the game? Like, when you're ahead, what could the enemy do to take the win away from you? And in this particular case, well, if we all YOLO forward into the enemy team and die in a crossfire between those 2 battleships and the kamikaze torps, that's bad, because the enemy is going to take the B cap and then win the game. So we're going to prevent that. Instead, the enemy team has to push into us, into crossfire between my torps and the Doria and the Sinop on the other side. Obviously, I never should have doubted anything here. Game was won in the loading screen. We had a Sinop and they did not. Sinop, in case you're not aware, one of the stronger battleships in the game at tier 7, and also a tech tree ship. So if you are looking for a strong tech tree battleship line, the Russians aren't too bad, and the Sinop in particular is very strong for its tier. Not that I would necessarily recommend to play them as your first line, but they're certainly not shit. Okay, now the game is won. We can just go and shoot that Dunkirk. Doesn't matter if we don't do any damage to him. just the game is won, and at this point, all you can do is try to maximize your own score by getting a bit more damage here or there, maybe. So, yeah, why not? Doesn't matter. Even if we die there, that's not a problem. You should never rely on your team to win the game, no matter how far ahead they are, but I think there is some situations that are just unlosable, and this is one of them. That guy is called Not Unsinkable. We'll try to prove him right here. Yep, Odoria proved him right. He's not unsinkable. Something I haven't touched on yet. That destroyer there. Shooting him is very valuable. Not just because, well, shooting destroyers in general is a good idea, because destroyers have a high game impact and high game influence, and killing them means your team is more likely to win. Also because your rewards are going to be percentage based, and that guy has very low HP, and the higher percentage of HP that you deal to him in terms of damage, the more rewards you're going to get. So dealing 1000 damage to him, that's about 10% of his HP. So you're going to get rewards equivalent for killing 10% of a ship. If you do 1000 damage to a battleship, that's, I don't even know, 2% of his HP, something like that. So you're going to get rewards for doing 2%. And yeah, obviously, shoot the DD first. So we've done the destroyer part of the video. Next thing is going to be the cruiser part. And now I'm conflicted. Which guy do I want to play? Objectively speaking, the Furutaka, the tier 5 Japanese heavy cruiser, is a very strong ship. So if you're looking for a very strong tier 5 Czech tree cruiser, the Furutaka is one of them. I will go for the Königsberg. And ships like Königsberg, Omaha, Emerald, Chungking, they are floating citadels. And what that means is, we have a look at the armor layout. This part is the ship's citadel, and if you get hit there, as mentioned earlier, shells that go in there and detonate, they're going to do the maximum listed damage, and that's gonna hurt. Königsberg is a light cruiser at tier 5. Everyone loves shooting light cruisers at tier 5, meaning as soon as you're spotted, you can expect all the battleships on the enemy team to drop everything they're doing at that time and start shooting at you. And wait, we need a camouflage, right? Which one is good? Let's take that one. And every single one of those salvos can mean the end of your game. So as a tier 5 cruiser of any sort, even though Furutaka is slightly better armored, you don't really want to get spotted too much. Island camping is a viable strategy. Running away is a viable strategy. There is this misconception that many people have, that it's cowardly to sit behind an island and spam the mighty battleship with HE shells. It is not cowardly. If you have no armor to speak of and a third of the HP of said battleship, it is the smart thing to do, not a cowardly thing to do. Because after all, you want to win the game and you want to have a positive influence, right? You want to help your team. So being manly and charging that battleship and trying to use your 6-kilometer torps, yeah, that's not gonna do anything. You're gonna die before you can get off those torps, and then you've let your team down, because that's 50 points that your team loses and 35 points that the enemy team gains. So don't do that. If you have to sit behind an island, spam HE. It's the smart thing to do. We are in a T6 game, and again we do a quick scan of the enemy lineup. New Mexico is very dangerous because it has loads of guns and every single shell can deal substantial damage. The Bayern, slightly less scary at long ranges, but very, very scary at closer ranges because it's very well armored. The Warspite, also very, very, very dangerous. Not as many shells, but deals a lot of damage. So all these three battleships, they are dangerous. The London, in theory, is dangerous because he has big guns as well for a cruiser, but we will try and just not be in a situation where he can kill us. Hawkins also has big guns for a cruiser, but Hawkins is a Hawkins, so you can disregard that. And that ship is not going to do anything ever. I say that, I'm probably going to die to it. So what we want to do is we want that Königsberg to run away and the Warspite to get into our gun range, and then we want to shoot the Warspite. And the reason is, as a German ship, we have a better formula for the penetration capability of our HE shells compared to other nations. And we can, with these small puny shells, pen 38 millimeters of armor, and that means we will pretty much penetrate that Warspite everywhere. Well, not quite, but in many places, and we'll be able to deal substantial amounts of damage to him. Yeah, a little too close to the island for now. The enemy have a ship out here. We know that because someone was shooting from there. Okay, it's that Acasta. We also have an Acasta here, of course. Our Acasta has more HP than the enemy Acasta, because our Acasta upgraded his ship, the enemy Acasta did not. So it's not an even fight here. Our Acasta clearly has the advantage, has more HP in the first place, and also, even though I can't hit, our Acasta in theory has a teammate that can also shoot the enemy Acasta, and the enemy Acasta is just dead. Now, some of you may say I stole that kill, but you would be wrong. I did not steal that kill. I secured that kill, because every second that this Acasta is alive is another second it may launch torps, and that's dangerous. So there is no such thing as kill stealing. Always make sure an enemy dies, particularly at higher tiers, when ships have heals and such. Just kill them, right? So there's one ship aiming at us, that is the Warspite indeed. And there you can see what I mean. That Warspite is very dangerous. He hit us with one shell. Oof, another one, that was lucky. One shell, and he hit our citadel. We didn't show any side, we showed just the ass of our ship, but his shell just went straight through our deck and into our citadel and almost killed us. But we are still alive, right? And now we are going to do damage back to him. And that's what I was talking about with the Acasta. As long as the Acasta was alive, it was a danger. We are pretty crippled, but we are still alive, so we will still do damage to the Warspite. Königsberg's running away. Also, as you can see on our Königsberg, we have 2 turrets in the back. It's not symmetrical. I really don't like that, but it is what it is. It's a good ship for running away and kiting. Kiting, of course, we've mentioned it in the first video, is you fly the enemy ship like a kite. You control the distance that enemy ship is from you. That Königsberg, we are out of range. He's just shooting us for the lulz, I guess. He cannot hit us. No idea why he does that. So the New Mexico and the London are sauntering over, and they are in a division. So they will be coordinating whatever the fuck they're doing. Luckily, we have our Custer here, and that means those 4 ships, they can't really push because they are going to be scared of torpedoes. And as you can see, our Custer is currently launching the torps. So yeah, it's basically just 1 ship holding back 4 ships there. We just wait until we get something in range here. Pushing in against a New Mexico and a Warspite is not a good idea. Okay, so we need to be careful not to get spotted by that London. So we keep the island between him and us. I think he just repaired a fire, or maybe it ran out, I'm not entirely sure. But we'll set 2 fires on him. And if I'm not mistaken, and he did actually just...
Yeah, he repaired my fire.
Yeah, so he just put out the fire that our Custer set, so that means these 2 fires he cannot put out, and they will tick for full duration, for full damage. He also appears to be collecting rock samples, as Equi likes to say. New fire for him, he puts it out. So that means if someone else gets a fire on him now, he's fucked. Well, he's fucked in any case because he has a West Virginia in his face, right? Oh, that Warspite is coming back into range. That means, yes, we are going to get spotted here, that's okay. Bit of greedy gameplay here. Because everyone will be shooting that guy. Well, someone just looked at us there. That's not ideal. Oh, the Warspite took a torp there. Did he have a flooding?
No flooding, sadly.
Sad. So when you play in a division like we do here, stuff like that is always nice because you can coordinate what ships you're engaging in certain situations. So right here, I don't know, if there's 3 different ships to choose from, and if we had just gotten a flooding on the Warspite, then obviously the Warspite would be my primary target now, because if the Warspite uses his damage control and then gets set on fire, that's not going to be healthy for him. Team on the other flank pushed in very confidently and then ran out of confidence and or HP. That Warspite is launching a spotter plane. That is kind of concerning, yes, because he is blind firing our position. So, the reason he did it is because the spotter plane makes it easier for him to look over the island. It gives his ship, or it gives his camera a different angle. So he can look over the island, he can see where our shells came from, and then he can shoot at that position. And he knows we are low HP, so he knows just 1 shell hit is enough to kill us. So, yeah, we're going to try and avoid that.
Warspite did use DCP now, by the way.
Okay, I set a perma. Two permas. Perma in this case meaning a permanent fire. It's not permanent, obviously. He's not going to start the next game with a fire, but the fires are going to tick for full duration, full damage, and he cannot put them out. We have this Königsberg creeping up on us here, which is a little concerning. Okay, we're now spotted by the Königsberg's aircraft. How very not cool. Königsberg is going to kill us here, like there's no doubt about that. He now has us in the range of his hydroacoustic surge. He can do that because of his HP advantage. He can just walk up to us But as you can see, all we did this game was sit behind an island and not really interact with the enemy team except spamming shells at them. And, well, we got up to 78,000 damage. That's not great, but it's also not terrible. So that is essentially what you do as a light cruiser, tier 5 light cruiser. You try not to get shot at and spam your shells at the enemy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So we just got another guest here, that is Snorky. And Snorky, for your information, we are currently doing a recording for a YouTube video series on how to only half suck at World of Warships. And for that, we are playing Tier 4, 5, and 6. We have already played 3 games of Tier 4. This is currently the second game of Tier 5. So there's going to be another one where I play a battleship, and then there's going to be 3 Tier 6 games. So you're obviously invited to join us here and improve our win rate even further to 110% maybe. So as I mentioned earlier, our Acasta just held back all those ships. And you can see that our team on the other side pushed through into the enemy cap zone. And yeah, the enemies did not manage to get to our cap because they were too scared of our Acasta. Now we're going to see our Omaha here. Trying to, well, not trying to, he is engaging that Warspite in open water. I'm not sure why he's shooting AP. That is objectively a bad idea. He should be shooting HE shells. Also, that Warspite, just one shell hit can kill this Omaha. So every salvo that the Warspite launches might be lucky. Omaha, you need to keep shooting. That's kind of funny. Like, he had him down to 1.7k and then decides to stop shooting. He also decides to launch his torps. The Warspite is 11 kilometers away and running away. And now we can have a look. The Omaha has 5.5 kilometer torps, right? So what are the chances those torps are going to reach? I'm going to say 0. Yeah, unfortunate. Also, our Omaha should really be shooting HE, because if he was shooting HE, that Warspite would be dead. But I guess he likes to live dangerously, so he shoots AP. Yeah, and with the Warspite eliminated, I want to say the game is probably won. The win condition for the enemy team here is to torp our Novorossiysk. And they have an Agano, which has loads of torps. Oh, for some reason our Omaha has now switched to HE shells now that he is engaging the Agano. Still, HE is the right choice in this situation, but had he used his HE shells against the Warspite, yeah, the Warspite would have been dead much earlier. Novorossiysk, where is he looking? He's looking at the Königsberg. That's good. So the Königsberg is most likely going to die. In a normal world, our Novorossiysk should kill the Königsberg. Also, our Omaha should kill that Agano. Very good. No, the game is gonna end in 5 seconds. That is sad, because it means the Königsberg is going to get away. Doesn't change anything in terms of the result, but Yeah. This game, it all boiled down to our Acosta stopping half the enemy team there. They were too scared to push in. So, yeah, that gave our team on the other flank all the time they needed. And it is reflected on the scoreboard. No kills, but top XP regardless because of all the stuff he did there. So now we're going to play a tier 5 battleship. I'm not sure what to play really. Maybe the New York. So ideally, as a battleship, you probably want both those skills. I'm to take this. I'm going to take this one. Fire prevention. If you don't know what you're doing in a battleship, you can't go wrong with this skill. This is equally important, but I can only take one, so I'm going to take the fire prevention first. Also, again, don't take this skill. I only do it because, well, I want to. Not a good idea in general. Do we have a permanent camouflage? We do, I knew it. And it looks beautiful. As a battleship, you have a heal, so you probably want to take this flag if you can afford it, because it means you can heal more, which is nice. We are going to have a look at these here. New York probably takes this thing. New York cannot take better dispersion here. Now I know there's some that will say, well, but artillery will improve your dispersion because it improves your range. But New York is a special case where the spotter plane and the artillery plotting don't increase your range by as much as they should. And let's be honest, tier 5, 18-kilometer range is plenty enough, plus a spotter plane. So we're not going to take any range upgrades here. We cannot take a dispersion upgrade, so we're going to take main battery traverse. For other battleship lines that have access to a dispersion module there, you really want to take the dispersion module. Wonderful, we are top tier. That's amazing. We see the Shenyang, that's dangerous, but it's a bot, so it's not that dangerous. The Clemson, that's dangerous, but it's a bot, so it's not that dangerous. And yeah, there's 2 more destroyers. We have to be a little careful, but not overly so. Was we played the Dante Alighieri earlier? I already forgot how fast it was, but I doubt it was as slow as this ship. So if you play a ship that's so ultra slow, like this New York that goes, I don't know, 21 knots or something, your positioning matters a lot because you cannot quickly reposition. If Arminikaze decides, oh well, the fun is over at A, I need to reposition and go to the C cap, he will pop his engine boost and he will go 40 knots and go towards the C cap. If we realize, oh shit, there's nothing here anymore, we need to go somewhere else, yeah, we're not going to get there before the game is over. So this is why we go towards the middle already. Also, as opposed to the Dante Alighieri earlier, this ship has HE and AP, and as a battleship, you really want to be shooting AP most of the time if you have those 2 shell types. Exceptions apply if you play the British battleship line. except for Warspite and Queen Elizabeth. Or Queen Elizabeth, I should say, as the tech tree ship. But yeah, those can get away with more HE, the rest of the line. But other battleships really want to shoot AP primarily. And the reason is any one shell that hits that Omaha can take half his HP. I need to hit him first, obviously, and I'm terrible at that, apparently, but if I hit him, one shell may take half his HP, and as we covered earlier, the rewards are percentage-based, meaning half his HP, that's 50% of his ship, that is, you get the rewards as if you, well, killed 50% of the ship. That guy's pretty dead. Oh no. He accelerated, and that second his engine died. So he couldn't accelerate as fast, and our shells went with too much lead. Sad. And you saw there, I shot the destroyer with AP. I can only do 10% of my listed damage here, like 1,030 with my AP shells. And I did it regardless, because every shell that hits him is 10% of his HP gone, and that's a good thing. Now, I really want to be shooting other stuff back there. I don't know, but I can't, because... Okay. He's back. I will shoot one turret and try to make him commit to a turn in one direction or another. Okay, he turns that way. And we're gonna shoot the rest. Bad aim. So this Moltke there may slap me, and if it was a human, I definitely wouldn't be doing what I'm doing here, but it's a bot, so I can probably get away with it.
He's also looking at me, by the way.
So obviously we could have shot the Moltke, but I really want to shoot that Omaha back there. I mentioned that when I played Königsberg. When you're a tier 5 light cruiser, all battleships will drop everything they're doing just to shoot you, regardless of the situation. Okay, here's the plan. I'm going to go and ram that New York. Unless our... Oh no, it's a bot. Oh, destroyer there. It being a bot means it's probably not gonna go and take our kill. Okay, I lied. We're not gonna do anything. The enemy team hit 0 points, meaning they instantly lose. But yeah,
I'm sorry.
this is how to
I
play.
denied you the RAM.
Yeah, and you denied us so much fun. This is what low tier battleship gameplay is like. Boring as fuck. Spoiler. Don't play battleships. Yeah, but these are the 3 tier 5 games. And I will see you again, obviously, because you will like, comment, subscribe, and the algorithm will recommend the tier 6 video. See you there.